So I know that there has been a lot of doom, gloom, terror, political things that I've been sharing on this channel for a couple of days now, and all of which should be cause for concern. But every now and then, there's a little glimmer of glitter that makes its way through. And I got so much to say about this specific act right here. Mississippi lawmaker introduces Contraception Begins at Erection Act. Now, we're going to read some pieces of this article. I'm busting out the handy dandy because I got some extra thoughts on this. But before we even dive in, two things. One, hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Shayna. I'm a journalist. I talk a lot about decentering men and child-free living. If any of that sounds like a vibe, please like, share, and subscribe, especially as we are in these wild times. I will be breaking down some laws that can be rather complex and talk about how they directly relate to you, especially if you have a uterus and especially if you are trying to remain child-free and are decentering men from your lives. So with all that, definitely like, share, subscribe. Oh, technically three things. Also, if you are interested in starting your freelance writing journey, so that way you could stack up on cash and get paid for your thoughts. I'm starting a masterclass on that, and information for all of that will be in the description below and in my bio. Look for my Substack. It has all of the information on there about what to expect within the masterclass. And the third thing, when I say, now listen, I don't like talking to men. I say that pretty consistently on here. And there's a lot of booga activities that I talk about on this page, but I do also talk about the men and young men, boys, the males that do the good work, are trying to do the good work. Now, I don't make a lot of those videos because I don't know or don't see a lot of that action happening, but every now and then, a rogue unicorn races in front of my gaze, and this is one of them. This is the work of a man. Believe it or not. Let's dive in. You could read along right here as I read right over here. Mississippi State Senator Bradford Blackman, a Democrat, introduces a bill this week that would seemingly ban men from masturbating or engaging in other sexual acts when they have no intent to fertilize an embryo. The bill, entitled Contraception Begins at Erection, would make it unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. It includes exceptions for sperm donation and using contraception to prevent fertilization. The bill, introduced on Monday, would impose fines of $1,000 for the first offense, $5,000 for the second offense, and $10,000 for any subsequent offenses. This bill is unlikely to pass the GOP-led legislature, but if it does and is signed into law by Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, it would go into effect in July. And this is a quote from Blackman. Across the country, especially here in Mississippi, the vast majority of bills relating to contraception and/or abortion focus on the woman's role when men are 50% of the equation, he wrote. This bill highlights that fact and brings the man's role into the conversation. People can get up in arms and call it absurd, but I can't say that bothers me. We're going to skip a little bit and jump to this last bit before I dive into my own notes. Currently, 12 states, including Mississippi, have total or near total abortion bans, while an additional 6 states ban abortion from 6 to 12 weeks of gestation, according to KFF, a nonprofit group that researches health policy issues. Now, do I think that this act has any chance of actually making it into law in a state like Mississippi? No. Do I think that an act like this has any chance of making it into law anywhere in the United States? Once again, I really don't think so. But at this point, it is the thought that counts. And the tree that is abortion bans comes with a lot of branches, and they touch a lot of things that ruin day-to-day living for anybody with a uterus. So I also think that if we are expanding on what this Contraception Begins at Erection Act brings up, we also need to talk about what some of those branches are. And I got some of those branches right here. So one, there needs to be a rollout of other initiatives as it relates to this act. example number one. People need to pay people to snitch on the men and boys who are out there just masturbating, caught single-handed, or even not caught single-handed, even if they cross state lines. I think that there should also be a bounty, in the same way that people are like, oh, you could pay to find, like if you tell us about women that are crossing state lines or little girls that are crossing state lines in order to get abortion care, we'll pay you. We should also be able to pay for all of the men and boys that are out there just jerking it off. It's out there making things sticky for no goddamn reason. And I think that it also needs to start at $1,000. $1,000 per head. And to add on to that, I don't think that, like, let's say that you catch Tommy jerking it off behind the bleachers, right? Or you assume that you find Tommy jerking it off behind the bleachers because he looks a little bit too happy in bio class. You're like, I know what you were doing back there, Tommy. So let's say that you go and you snitch on Tommy. You get $1,000. But then 2 weeks later, Tommy's out here being all weird after gym class again. I think you should be able to snitch on Tommy again and get another $1,000. And adding to that, we don't need proof of the do being done. In the same way that marriage, like people can cross a state line and let's say that they were like oh, they crossed a state line and they miscarried, or maybe they got an abortion, or maybe they just missed a period. The government don't care. Lady, jail. I laugh. It's not funny. But in the same way that like science doesn't actually have to, science or proof does not actually have to be a part of this, I think that the lack of proof needs to be able to extend to this act. Next, also very important, arguably all of these very important. Next, surveillance on all of their health trackers and all of their health apps, just in the same way that period trackers, the data from period trackers, are being used by the government in order to figure out who may or may not be pregnant. We need to be checking all of those Apple Watches, all of those. Oh, Tommy, sorry, if your name is Tommy out there, you are under the bus, and you're staying under there for this entire video. I'm not sorry. Okay, so Tommy, at some point, let's say this bill gets passed, and then you decided to have a little treat yourself night one night. The next morning, there should be cops at your door. Actually, forget the police. There should be some other entity that will bring you directly to jail at your door the next morning. And they will have their note saying, are you Tommy Henkenspiel? And you'll be like, oh my God, yeah, that's me. And they'll say, your heart rate rose incredibly high at 11:23 p.m. last night, Tuesday night, as you were watching Passport Bro Gets a Hernia on Pornhub. Sir, you have the right to remain silent. Everything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And while we're talking about Pornhub, we all know that Pornhub's got that data. It's got that data, that sweet daddy data that'll help to get these men into prison where they belong. The government needs to pay Pornhub for all of the data that they have. Oh yeah, we could tell that Tommy was watching, I don't know, Fisters R Us 5 times in a row, but it kept ending at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That's when you know that Tommy had his little sneeze. And that's when you get him. $1,000 per time. Oh, but like, I just fell asleep all those times at exactly 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I don't care, Tommy. Either pay me or go to jail. People out here talking about, oh, the male loneliness epidemic. Women don't want to be around men anymore. You give women a financial incentive to be hyper vigilant around these men. Oh yeah, you know, I'm on a dating app. It's been my first time in like 5 months or like 5 years that I've been on a dating app. But I just feel really compelled to like have a man in my life. I think that she's out here for money. She's out here to fuel the economy. And not only will she help to fuel the economy, but she will also help Tommy to stop crying every day after work when Call of Duty isn't working on his PS2 anymore. All I'm saying is that everybody wins. And is this my last thought? This is my last thought for now. Oh no, I have another burp. 1 second. I had so much protein today. Came back from the gym lifting heavy. All right, now this is my last thought. But so in the thought that I just had, it's an everybody win situation, and this is just kind of like adding on to that, right? So I think that we should be paying wives, girlfriends, and laundromat owners to rat out the partners of the first two and the clients of the laundromat owners. What do I mean? Too many stiff socks. Too many stiff socks. And a lot of these men, I know that a lot of these men will go to laundromats and then pay a little extra so that way they can fold the laundry for them and then they can pick it up. If there's just a little too many stiff socks in there. Ladies, you're out there living with these men. You're constantly wondering, where is my CeraVe? Where did all my lotions go? Ladies, you know where that lotion is. That man is out there committing crimes. Jail! And another thing that I think is helpful for this is that, okay, there's two options. Either, because men are not going to stop masturbating. They're men. So one option is that there's three options. They go to jail, 1. 2, you get paid. Or 3, they actually learn how to clean up after themselves. They learn how to clean the house. They learn how to do their laundry. They learn how to be meticulous with their cleanliness because they don't want to go to jail. And they don't want, well, I mean, the government wouldn't pay you. The men would pay you. The men would pay you because they've done no-nos. So I think that this is honestly a win-win all around. I don't see a world in which an act like this could have a negative side effect. But because men don't want better for themselves, they're not going to pass this law. And I think that that's really unfortunate because they're acting against their own best interests. So if you have anything that you also think should be added to this list of branches on this beautiful, beautiful tree, please type them in the comment section. If you have any questions, comments, no concerns, because I don't think that an act like this would bring up concerns for anybody, but also please feel free to share them. I think that's all for now. Yeah. All right. Talk to you later. Stay safe out there.